Good evening and welcome to the Pelican Sports Post Game Show. LSU 23, Mississippi State 20. It is over in Tiger Stadium. LSU 1-0 in conference play, and we're ready for your phone calls and your text messages. I'm Tommy Krysan, Buddy Sanji. Buddy, your thoughts on the 23-20 win by LSU?
You know, we have been in that office right across from us many times here in the last couple of years, TK, and the two gut-wrenching losses were to Bama in 2012 and 2014, but boy, this was just a shocker as to what happened in the second half. LSU did not score a point, got outscored 17-0. Mississippi State made a game of it. Leonard Fournette, uncharacteristically, 2 fumbles. Special teams, a nightmare once again for LSU. Danny Etling played a little bit better. They had a little bit of momentum and a little bit of a passion going on. And once again, just had a bad adjustment at halftime. TK, lucky to win the ball game the way the momentum was with Mississippi State. And I know that the fan base right now is incredibly hot.
First text message of the night, buddy. Danny Etling may have just saved the LSU season if Miles doesn't ruin it with his terrible coaching. Your thoughts on the first text?
Thought it was a poorly coached game, and once again, they continue to sit on anything that they do in the first half. TK had a little momentum going. Once again, we've been talking about Kobe Delahousie. He's kicking the ball low this year. Had a PAT block. Cameron Gamble, another kickoff out of bounds. Cost him problems and yards and field position. But Fournette's got to protect the football. The offensive line sustained a bunch of injuries. They had to mix and match tonight.
They were doing a lot of that.
I thought the 3-4, he went a lot of 4-3 early. Arden Key, Lewis Neal playing hard. But
Gotcho played well.
Something is going on, TK. This team's got a big cloud over it right now.
All right, the phone number to call is 225-928-4910. 225-928-4910. If you want to send a text message, which some of you are doing already, area code 504-689-9246 on the text message line. Like we like to do on this show, right to the phone calls. Frank in Baton Rouge, good evening. You're on the post-game show.
Hey, TK and Buddy, how y'all doing tonight?
Frank, we're surviving.
They almost blew it on, like I was saying earlier, coaching. I don't understand him. But at least the quarterback looked half good. I mean, he looked like he was comfortable, but he did throw some bad passes. There were some drops. What was his percentage anyhow?
He had a decent percentage going up right, I think 200-plus yards, one touchdown.
Pull that up for you, buddy.
What did I see? Something like 19 for 30, TK? Pull that up. Frank Etling.
You're correct, buddy. 19 for 30 for 215 yards, 1 touchdown, no interception. 19 for 30 for 215.
But Frank, that's just the start of the problems. I thought Danny made a lot of plays from the play breaking down, and that's what everybody loves about him that Brandon couldn't do, TK, is finding that second and third guy. But Shark dropped the ball. That cost him a touchdown. Malachi caught the ball good tonight. But once again, penalties, injuries. What's going on in the second half, Frank?
Well, they play. I really don't know. I'm saying the coaching. I hate to keep harping on that, but it didn't take a miracle for me to say just keep Miles. I ain't gonna lie there.
Well, look, you wanna see LSU do as well as they can do, TK, when you kick it off, and we have so much anticipation and so many high expectations.
Yeah.
Frank, that's what's so crazy about this team. They looked like they were a pretty good football team when it was 20-0, and then all of a sudden they start giving up stuff. And TK, I got to tell you something, Frank. They don't have enough cornerbacks that can cover on this football team. They are getting tore up with cover corners. Kevin Tolliver has regressed. Ed Parrish gave up a couple balls. Dante Jackson. TK, I'm going to be honest with you. They're looking like it's going to be a struggle every week.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. Because Mississippi State ain't that good of a team. I'm going to tell you that now.
No, they're not. I told several people during the game, Frank, that I thought Mississippi State was awful. And then here they came, give them credit. They kept banging it away and kept making it happen and got back in the thing where, the game was in the balance the last couple minutes.
He loved it, Frank. He gave me a score of 23-20, and I'm sitting here looking at 30-14, and I'm thinking I'm going to hit it on the nose. and all of a sudden TK's jumping up and down. You'd have thought he struck out Paul Maneri again.
Well, it was a different ball game in the second half. Look, I know Paul's wanting to get in. Let me let y'all go.
Thank you, Frank.
Okay,
Appreciate it. 23-20, LSU wins. Bad play calling by Cam Cameron on one text here, buddy. First half, Edlin was 14 of 20 for 172. Let's see, TK, same old Les Miles, always taking his foot off the gas. You were right, they didn't cover. That comes from Darcy. Let's see, bad coaching, calling trick plays when you don't even have a score. Hey, a lot of stuff out there.
Well, look, they had all the reverses and all the tricks come out of the...
Opened up out of the... But I'm okay with that. I mean, they're trying to show wrinkles and variation and all, but, you know, this was a game when they were just better than somebody up front. Now, when they started getting the injuries on the offensive line, that seems like more of a time when you might want to start trying to get some misdirection going and fake some people out a little bit, huh?
Yeah, I'm not speechless, but I tell you what, there are a lot of emotions going on with a lot of fans right now, and TK, you get to that point where you just wonder why Les has a propensity to make these games so close, and a lot of people point to the style that he plays.
Let's go to Juno in Baton Rouge. Juno, you're on the postgame show.
Hello.
Hey, Juno, what's up?
Well, I tell you what, I'd like to know how long would the athletic director and the president put up with that guy. Something's got to happen. We've got to get rid of him and send him back in or give him a job at LSU or do something else. But as far as coaching, he cannot coach.
Well, Juno,
Not the way that this thing has happened in the second half when, you know, they scored 23 points and couldn't score any more after that. It was just dead. You know, I guess you would just sit down on it. And I'd also like to know, why is he watching the clock so much? He's still a clock man. And all he does, he's got his hands in his pocket or on his chest, and he waits, and he just waits for the clock. I guess he thinks the clock will do something for him, and the clock will never do anything for him. We've got to get rid of him. It's time.
All right, Juno, I think a lot of people would join in your frustration. Appreciate the call. Thank you so much. Let's go to Paul in Shreveport. Paul, you're on the postgame show.
Hey, Paul from Shreveport. How y'all guys doing?
What's up, Paul? You didn't come in this week?
I got in late. I apologize. I was trying to reach out to you, but
Oh, okay. Well, good to
Shreveport to take care of.
good to hear from you. What's up? What's your emotions, your thoughts? And boy, Paul, they look pretty impressive. And I text TK. I said this is kind of like the team everybody LSU thought would put on the field. And then the next thing you know, they start to chip away. And boy, I tell you what, second week in a row, TK and Paul, they just shut it down offensively. Couldn't get any momentum in the second half. And let's be honest, Paul, that defense got tired again, and then they just can't cover well enough, Paul.
Yeah, first thing, I was doing some heavy drinking in the first half, which is grateful because of the second half was but we were walking the stadium, and it was flat. There wasn't a lot of people out tailgating. It just seemed that the numbers, if you looked out in the stands, we had a lot of no-shows. And, you know, fortunately, we came out pretty strong in the first half, but, man, we were just flat in the second half. And what are y'all guys' prediction for the season at this point? Is this a stepping stone or an anchor or an omen of things to occur during the season? What do you guys think?
Well, they won the game tonight, but I think it's a disappointment the way they won. You know, we talked after the Wisconsin game, Paul, when they lost. Yeah, you lost, but sometimes it's about how you lose. Well, ironically, it's also sometimes about how you win. Here's a team who was up 23-3, stepping on a conference opponent that beat them in Baton Rouge 2 years ago, and they couldn't throw any more knockout punches. You know, like they rope-a-dope the rest of the night and just didn't, you know, you go watch college football all day today, and people just kept scoring, kept going, whether it was Alabama, Ole Miss, whether it was Louisville running all over Florida State. I mean, people just keep going. LSU doesn't seem to keep going. Got a text message. Miles has got to go. I mean, there was not a lot of, there was a big crowd there, but not like you would think for a conference opener. And, you know, a little threat of weather earlier in the day, it kind of missed the Baton Rouge area. So, Paul, as for your question as to what do I think will go the rest of the season, I mean, they're sitting here 2-1. And they played three teams that aren't going to beat a lot of people this year. Wisconsin struggled big time with Georgia State today, of all people. I mean, I think if they go 8-4, that'd be great.
Yeah.
What I've seen in 3 games, buddy. Your thoughts?
Well, Paul, the people get so upset when Les takes the pedal, the foot off the pedal, and everybody knows, like TK eloquently said, Alabama won 48-43. Louisville scored 60-plus points against the number 2 team in the country. Everybody's scoring 30 and 40 points. Defense is not kosher. Everybody's got the offense and the spread and the 3 wides and all that. And I thought that they made some steps forward in the first half. But once again, when you regress the last 2 weeks in the second half, Paul, it's very hard to try and predict the record. Now, if they beat Auburn, and Auburn is up and down, they got beat by A&M tonight. Then you got Missouri here. But Florida's going to be tough. You know Ole Miss is good. You know Bama is going to be very good. You know Texas A&M on a short week is going to be good, and Arkansas.
You got to go to Fayetteville.
Paul, I'm with TK. I think the LSU fans would take 8-4 and go to the clubhouse right now.
Well, I think if we do not beat Alabama, Coach Miles is out, and I wouldn't mind looking at University of Houston's head coach. I just don't see how Coach Miles is going to survive if he doesn't beat Alabama this year. No matter what happens between now and then, if he doesn't beat Alabama, I don't think those pitchforks ever went away. What do y'all think?
Yeah, well, I don't know if it'll get to that.
It's got a lot of ground to cover between now and then. We'll certainly talk about that week, Paul. Hey, Paul, we appreciate it.
Good talking to you, buddy.
Thank you so much. We got to get to a break. LSU wins 23-20, led 23-20 at one point, 23-3 at one point. Win the game by 3 points. Don't cover the point spread. Text message. Here's a quick one. If Les Miles gets a lead, they try to play defense and run out the clock no matter how much time left. Reminds me of Jim Moore with the Saints. Tigers lay an egg in the second half. Some of the text messages. We're going to get in a break, come back. You guys that are on hold, stay there. We're getting to you. We're getting to the text messages. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Christ-San, Pelican Sports Postgame Show on Pelican Sports TV and WUBR, 9:10 a.m. CBS Sports Radio, Baton Rouge. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Here at Rejuva-Me Medical, we strive to accomplish a more youthful you. We specialize in the most advanced techniques of testosterone replacement therapy in men, bioidentical hormone replacement in women, IV therapy, and nutritional support along with the state-of-the-art cosmetics procedures. Experience a network of trainers and health coaches offering diet and nutritional plans tailored to you. Call us today to schedule your free consultation to discuss your individual needs and goals. Look like you live younger.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. Taste the feeling.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a Formal Affair.
My name is Raven. I work at Debbie's Bridal and she makes your dreams come true.
Acord Eye Clinic Vision Source is located on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge, offering full-service optical and lab work. Dr. Shonda Acord and the professionally trained staff pride themselves on service, complete eye exams, help with contact lenses, and selection of frames featuring Silhouette, Gucci, Jimmy Choo, and all the top lines. State-of-the-art equipment including OptiMap, which digitally photographs your retina. Call Acord Eye Clinic for an appointment. 225-767-3937. That's 225-767-3937. Visit the website visionsource-br.com. All patients of all ages are welcome. Acord Eye Clinic, Vision Source.
We continue with the Pelican Sports post-game show. LSU 23, Mississippi State 20. Phone lines are full. We're going to get to them in a minute. Buddy, I want to read you a text message. You and I are going to talk about it real quick.
Okay.
Then we'll get to Ron, then Jim, then Bill. Text message. The uniforms were horrible. Here's my thoughts. I didn't think they were great. I didn't think they were bad. I was kind of in the middle. I agree with one of the announcers said. The helmets I thought looked really good, really sharp. Uniforms, I could take them or leave them. I didn't dislike them. I didn't think they were the greatest thing in the world. If they never wear them again, I'm okay. Buddy, your thoughts on the uniform?
I thought they looked better on TV than when I saw the early TV bites and pictures of them. But listen, the guys liked them. It was a tribute to Y.A. Tittle and the Gridiron and Classic and all that. But, man, I'm so flustered just to see them play like that. That's the last thing on my mind.
Let's get to these phone lines. Ron Bone in Gretna, you're on the post-game show.
Yeah. Hi, Tommy, buddy.
Happy Saturday night, Ron.
Hello?
Yeah, said happy Saturday night.
Oh, yes, and it is. And I tell you, I'm, happy with the win and everything. And I was, happy with Etling and everything in the performance. He had like 170 passing yards in the first half and like 40 in the second half.
He finished with 215.
Did you stop that?
He finished with 215, Fournette, 28 carries, $147.
Go ahead, Ron.
Right. Right. Why? Where's the conservative? I mean, they were like pumping the brakes in the third and fourth quarter to not score no points, at all in the half. It was like last week.
That's what he does, Ron. Unfortunately, that's what Les Miles does.
That's one of the text messages that they took the foot off the gas pedal.
He's historically done it, Ron. It's so frustrating.
And one other thing, what is it with Ricky Jefferson wearing number 9? Is that his brother Jordan's number?
Yeah, but he changed before the season, Ron.
Yeah, he decided this summer to wear that because of his brother.
Oh, that was before this.
Yeah. He's been wearing that all year.
Like number 22 or something.
No. He's been wearing that all year.
He was actually number 29 last year, if I remember correctly, and then he switched to 9. Ron, we
29.
appreciate it. You enjoy the rest of your Saturday evening. Let's go to Jim in Baton Rouge. Jim, you're on the post-game show.
Yeah.
Hi, Jim.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Cool. Just wanted to say you guys are doing a great job, and it's amazing how Les can take a blowout and turn it into a small ball game.
You're right, Jim, and that's not the first time we've seen that. And started sensing that as I was en route to the studios here. I watched first 3 quarters at home, and I was headed down here and had Chris Blair and Doug Morrow on, and I'm thinking, State, they can't put State away. State's going to chip back in. And, of course, the whole crew here at the Pelican watched the last 7, 8, 9 minutes here on one of our TVs, and it was just everybody was kind of shaking their head a little bit. But then you shouldn't shake your head because we've seen this movie before.
Actually, we've been down this road before too many times. That's as a result of that, people are not going on the Auburn trip.
Well, Jim, here's the problem. You had all of these wins, TK, and let's be honest, right out of the gate, and even the record now going into this year. But he's had a propensity to make problems with mistakes, obviously with quarterbacks. You saw the Advocate today listing all the quarterbacks that's been recruited, has trouble developing quarterbacks, and then the hit right now that's being taken, that they're having to pay for sins on, is the offensive line.
Right.
And when you get a couple of injuries in there, look, I'm not seeing them push people around. We knew this was an SEC line of scrimmage game. Thought they played well at halftime.
Well, and Mississippi State's best quality of their teams, their defensive front. So,
No doubt.
So if there's a plus to Mississippi State, it's that Johnson guy and the rest of them guys up front. And you're right. But the offensive line, the injuries, they were shuffling guys around tonight. They got a lot of work to do to get ready for Auburn next week.
But
on
I was
the
just
road.
going to say, in the first half, he set up the run by passing, TK. In the second half, Jim, he went back to old Les Miles football, and the adjustments the last 2 weeks at halftime on offense have been horrendous.
Well, I couldn't agree with more.
And all right, Jim, appreciate
Thank you,
it.
Jim.
All right, buddy. For that matter, Auburn has been beat this evening by Texas A&M. Final score: Aggies 29, Auburn 16. Let's go to Bill in Gonzales. Bill, you're on the postgame show.
Hello?
Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What you got?
Well, we're waiting to hear what you got.
Oh, we're on the air. Okay.
Yes, sir.
What I got is, I agree with what everybody's been saying. I was one of the big supporters of last year. I thought LSU was treating him kind of cruddy. But I will say this. I remember one thing about him. I watched games on other networks throughout Saturdays. When he was at Oklahoma State, he did the same exact thing in consecutive years. And Oklahoma State had a chance to beat Nebraska when they were a good team, when it was still the Big 12. And here we go. He's at LSU. We know about the clock management throughout his history. And especially that Auburn game in 07 almost gave my stadium mate a heart attack before Bird caught that pass from Flynn. And then you got the disappointing games that this game reminds me of tonight. That bowl game, that Chick-fil-A, as they call it now, against Clemson 4 years ago, and that Music City game against Notre Dame, as I call them the Gold Donors, a couple of years ago. Very disappointing, just like y'all and everybody else is saying. For some reason, he comes out, the defense plays kind of plain, man up or whatever, the first quarter or something. Then they get going, get into some stride, and they call themselves DBU. They can't guard my dead grandmother. I mean, she's been gone since '88. And, they dropped 2 balls today. And I realized the one that the guy dove for there in the fourth quarter was a difficult interception, but that one end zone should have been made. And it's like, we did the same thing. Les is not the Mad Hatter anymore. I mean, and I like the guy, but I vote for resurrecting Charlie Mack. I mean, what do y'all say?
Well, we're
that
going
ain't gonna
back,
happen.
bringing help Mac Pack, and I know a lot of people certainly want to help Les Pack. I think he made a great point. This is not just this year. The bowl games, Notre Dame, they took Fournette out and didn't run him. Clemson, they came back and didn't play Jeremy Hill in the fourth quarter. For some reason, the last 5 years or so, he has lost the Mad Hatter's mentality on offense, and it's playing not to lose instead of playing to win. And TK, you know what that gets you.
All right, Bill, thank you so much.
All right, y'all take care.
All right, buddy, here's a text message somewhat on Les Miles' side. Listen,
All right.
Why is it always Les Miles who's taking the foot off the gas? Is it never good enough to win? Finally, do we really think we could get a better coach?
Well,
it's because he always does take his foot off the gas, number one. Number two, whether or not you can get a better coach, can you get somebody that'll be here 12 years and win 70-something% of their games and a national title and 2 SEC titles? I don't know if you can get that.
I don't think
However,
you can.
I think you can get a guy who fits the college game more now than Les Miles fits it now. Les Miles has had a lot of success at what he's done. There's no question about that. But will that translate into long-term success when you watch everybody else in the country scoring boatloads of points? And, Ole Miss didn't sit on anything. I mean, people don't sit on the ball anymore. That's an old style that you get up 23-3, you run the ball, you move that clock, move the chains, and take the air out of the ball and try to win. Okay, that's not going to work when the other team sneaks back in. And Mississippi State had a chance to win that game. They had the ball down 3. Now, it didn't work, and they had a long way to go, but they still had that chance. So to answer the text message, I kind of agree that I don't know if you can get a better coach, in the big picture, but you might need another coach who can adapt to the style of college football that's being played now. And again, in the defense of Les Miles, I don't know if you get a guy that can recruit as well as he has.
Well, that's what I was just getting ready to add. I don't know if you can get a guy that has recruited as well as Les Miles, but I think you are going to get a better guy with offensive philosophy and keeping the foot on the pedal and the pedal to the metal and developing talent, especially on offense. It's got to get better, TK. He recruits with the best, but once again, this is another game tonight, quintessential Les Miles bringing a team back in the ball game, they had no business letting them back in.
Read the article in the Advocate today. Marvin in Baton Rouge, good evening. You're on the post-game show.
How you guys doing?
Hey, Marvin.
I was just calling. I know Les Miles be taking his foot off the gas a lot, but I think the turning point in the game was when they overturned the fumble. If they doesn't overturn the fumble, it's a whole different ball game. It was 23-6 at the time. If they don't overturn it, it's a whole different ball game. It's a runaway.
We got a couple guys over here, Marvin, that do not want to buy the referee's breakfast at Waffle House tonight. I thought that they left a lot to be desired with some of the calls in the game.
All over the country today, really.
Well, and you watch Hewitt Owens and that crazy game called with
In
Ole
the
Miss and
LSU
Bell.
Alabama game, they had 4 replays in 5 plays.
Yeah.
4 of the plays inside the goal line, inside the 5-yard line.
But Marvin, look, there's a lot of positives to Les. I'll tell you what I'm hearing from a lot of people, too. And when you hear this stuff, Les has gotten soft. Les doesn't have the passion. You don't hear it in his voice. He's just not the same guy he was 5 years ago, Marvin.
It says right here, if Leonard Fournette doesn't fumble twice, it's a route. That's not on Les.
Well, there's no doubt about it.
First, I must admit, we're getting some text messages supporting Les Miles, and I do want to point that out because I usually point out when we're getting the bad ones. I'm telling you, we got people coming in on his side tonight.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, the offense looked a whole lot better to me tonight.
In the first half.
Well, they threw 30 passes. That's, 12, 14 more than they threw in the first 2 games. All right, appreciate it, Marvin.
Thank you, Marvin.
All right.
All right, text messages, buddy. Gave us a stagnant offense and saying Leonard Fournette doesn't fumble twice. It's not close. That's not on Les. All right, we're going to take a break, come back. More phone calls, more text messages. Don't forget, the TV program that you're watching, some are listening on the radio, some on TV, repeats on Sunday morning at 9 a.m. and 10:30. Back-to-back 90-minute broadcasts of tonight's post-game show. We do that every Sunday the rest of the year. So if you missed the post-game show or you're in the car on the radio now, or you're on the smartphone or the tablet, you can get it on TV, on Pelican Sports TV, same station, Sunday mornings, back-to-back airings starting at 9 a.m. We'll take a break. LSU 23, Mississippi State 20. Tigers 1-0 in conference play. Auburn, who they travel to play next week, was beaten by A&M 29-16 today. We're back with your phone calls and your text messages. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Chrysan, the Pelican Sports Post-Game Show. Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans. CBS Sports Radio, Baton Rouge. Stay with us.
Since 1986, the family dental practice of Dr. Farrell Frugier, with state-of-the-art building and technology and our highly trained staff, have been dedicated to providing care and treatment to our patients of all ages. The experience and advanced training in cosmetic and restorative dentistry, TMJ, and treatment of snoring and sleep apnea allows Dr. Frugier to assist you in achieving the best in dental health. Call us today at 225-292-9700 to schedule your initial evaluation because we know how to make you smile.
Friends, family, and community in surrounding parishes who have lost vehicles due to the flood. North American Auto Group is here to help. We have discounted over 400 pre-owned vehicles with no water damage. In addition, we have lenders offering disaster relief financing programs. We will also help you with your insurance and GAP claims. Shop online at NorthAmericanAutoGroup.com or visit us at one of our 4 locations in Baton Rouge and Gonzales. North American Auto Group. We make it easy.
Cypress Lake Apartments are conveniently located off Segan Lane in Baton Rouge. Come see this community, which has many amenities including swimming pools, fitness room, playground, and much more. Beautiful views of Cypress Lake. 1, 2, 3-bedroom apartments are available. Stop by and see Cypress Lake Apartments. Give them a call at 225-293-6789 or visit online, cypresslake-apartments.net.
Attention small business owners. Penn Funding announces the easiest and fastest business funding program, the Platinum Business Account.
We needed cash fast. Business is good, but this is an emergency. We needed some new equipment, and the banks wouldn't help us.
At Penn Funding, we like to say, yes, you're approved. With your Platinum Business Account, you could qualify for up to $50,000 or more. This amazing new business account funding program is so effective, you could have the cash you need in just days.
I called, spoke with an agent who pre-qualified us, and connected me.
Call now for your Platinum Business Account. If you've been in business for at least 6 months, you could qualify for up to $50,000 or more in just days.
I called Penn Funding and had my money fast.
Need cash for your business? Call Penn Funding now.
Call 800-552-8621. 800-552-8621.
We continue with the Pelican Sports post-game show. A little correction on some words we're saying here. Technically, but according to the box score, Fournette did not fumble twice. He fumbled once according to the box score, but he just accurately pointed out during the break that when he had to fumble on the 4th down and then they reviewed it and said he didn't get the first, technically the ball went over on downs, not on a turnover. So on the official box, it's one fumble, but we all know he fumbled twice, okay? So anyway, but you know, that's just like the dead ball rebound.
I didn't get the
It's
score
like the
exact, though, like you did.
Well, I know. I'll probably get it right again next week. But it's kind of like the dead ball rebound in basketball. You just got to have it in there somewhere. All right, let's go to Brian in Metairie. Brian, you're on a post-game show.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate y'all having the show because it gives fans an opportunity to vent. I guess my first question is, quite frankly, when Edling's in as quarterback, I mean, Les Miles says they have the same playbook with Brandon Harris, but it looks totally different. And quite frankly, in the first half, they almost, they look like an air raid, compared to what they used to be running. And I want your opinion on that. Is this Cam Cameron? Is this Les Miles?
No,
it seems like night and day as far as the difference goes.
This is what it is, Brian. This is what it is, Brian. It's a very good question. Those plays have always been in the playbook, okay, and they've all been practiced. It's who do you want running those plays? When Zach Mettenberger was here, they passed for 3,000 yards, threw the ball all over the place. Danny Etling, like Mettenberger, is more of a pocket-type passer than Brandon Harris. So it's the same plays, but Cam Cameron knows Etling can do more things in the playbook than Harris can do as the playbook stands. Now, I think, Harris is a dual-threat quarterback, and he was great at Parkway High School because he ran and put a threat on the defense. They don't ask him to do that here. They try to keep it simple enough for him, and we saw it last week when Etling got in. We saw it tonight. They will throw the ball more because they have more confidence that Etling can be successful at it. But
Brian, you remember the Florida game last year?
Excuse me.
Yes, I do.
They scored 28 points in the second quarter and went up 28-14 and sat on it in the third quarter and had to call the trick play to Trent Domingue to win the game 35-28. You remember that?
Yeah, you know what?
You remember last week?
Yeah, by my nails, yeah.
You remember last week they looked good and sat on it in the second. Look, none of us know exactly how it works unless you're sitting there holding the rope and you're hearing the headset conversation. But it certainly looks like when they get a nice productive second quarter, they go in and get ultra conservative in the second half. And this is the problem that TK and I were talking about. If you watch college football the first 3 weeks, it's not 9-6 and 17-14 anymore. The big top 10 teams and top 5 teams and great teams are scoring 30 and 40 points a game. And you got to keep the pedal to the metal. And, Brian, that's what's so frustrating to so many fans because whether Les calls the play or not, you can tell the one constant is he's the head coach and he continues to, I guess you could say, tie down his offensive coordinator.
Well, he gets the credit when things go good, and he's got to get the blame when things go bad. That's what happens when you're the head coach. What else you got, Brian?
Well, no, it's to be honest with you, it's fun to watch when Edling's quarterback because you get excited when he fades back, and they seem to look like more like an offense. And I'm not taking anything away from Brandon Harris, but I'll be honest with you, I was betting my friends that Harris was going to play 50% of the game, and the joke was on me, and I'm glad I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, if they're going to use Harris, they need to use him like Jefferson and let him use his legs to do the.
He's not in the conversation
Well,
right
and
now.
what I didn't
Brian.
like was the fact that he was not up on the front of the sidelines,
Well, he got involved, but right now,
hearing
look,
what
you got to
was
give
going on.
Danny a chance. Brandon Harris had 14 starts in a year plus, Brian. I think they're going to go with Danny, and he did get better in the first half, but once again, they hamstrung him again in the second half.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's go to Jules in Abbeville. Jules, you're on the post-game show. Good evening.
Hey, man, let me tell you what. I appreciate y'all so much for coming on right after the game because it takes 2 hours before the radio network brings on the post-game show for callers to come in. So that's the first thing. Y'all guys are terrific.
Thank you.
TK, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Has anyone ever told you that you bear a striking resemblance to the late, great Buddy D?
Oh, don't be a squirrel tonight there, Jules. We got a squirrel on the line. Where's Hap Claudia?
Well, I love it.
Where's
I love
Abdul,
it.
the tent maker?
You guys are terrific. Hey, let me just say, I know how frustrating it is for
That's a
all
compliment,
of us
by the way, Jules.
as
Yes.
LSU fans.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
What you
I was
wanna
going to say,
buddy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that's a compliment, but I never would have bet as many times as Buddy D had. But Buddy D was an icon, and I'm just a local guy.
I was a lucky guy to get to know Buddy D a little bit.
Jules, we're all feeling the pain, and I know you're going to echo some of the sentiments, but it's like a mirage. In that first half, you're thinking, man, Danny Etling, this team is going to be, maybe this team can be a top 10 team, and you're thinking 20-0 and 20-3, and then all of a sudden, you woke up from a deep sleep and you said, oh, goodness, they're struggling to win, and the game should have never been this close. Pick it up from there, Jules.
And who do you think that falls on?
Right, falls on Les.
Miles. It all falls on the head coach.
Sure.
They won the game. I'm at the point where I wish they wouldn't win any games because I want him to be gone. People say, well, we can't get anybody better. Well, that's like the Saints. They don't think they can get anybody better than Sean Payton, but he's 7-9 year after year. You know, how many people would love to have the Saints job? There's only 32 of them. How many people would love to have the LSU job? How about the fella Herman at Houston? Now, if they get in the Big 12, maybe he doesn't want it. But it's like Alabama did with Nick Saban. Making them offer they can't refuse.
But they got lucky with Nick.
It's the same thing. They won the game, and that's great, but they struggle to win, and they're not going anywhere. It's the same old thing. I love Etling, but nothing is changing as long as Les is the head coach. Anyway, TK, you're the greatest. Buddy, Sonji, not Buddy Diliberto, you're the greatest. And I'll watch y'all until y'all go off the air, and then I'll go get on the Eagle 98.1, and I give Charles some crap. All right.
Thank you, Jules. Still to come, Brian Lazar, TigerBait.com. Just got a text from him. We'll talk to him in about 15 minutes. Get a report from the stadium, as well as Ronnie Rance, Sports Shorts Radio, Sports Shorts TV. Go
Just
quickly.
one quick point.
Buddy D.
As he said that, Les Miles has won a national championship.
Yes.
And Sean Payton has won a world championship. And they are both shadows of
what
the
they
coaches they were when they won those championships.
And those championships were kind of close to each
Put
other.
the dots together.
Let's go to Scooter in Baton Rouge. Scooter, good evening. You're on the post-game show.
Scooter, come on, listen to the phone. Uh-oh,
Hey,
Scooter.
man.
There you
Hey,
go,
man.
Scoot. Scoot, listen to the headset.
Hey, Bud, man.
Oh, hey, Scoot, what's up? I thought we were going to have to clip.
Hey, Tommy Christ, man.
Scooter, how you been, sir?
I'm doing good.
Good to hear from you.
Well, let me just tell you this, buddy. You know, you coerced me to get Cox, and now I'm in Cox. I've been fluttered out. But I'm going to tell you what, buddy. This is a very well uncoached football team on every aspect of the football. This team will lose 4 more games. They will get beat by Ole Miss. They will get beat by Alabama. They will get beat by Arkansas. And this is a very, very well uncoached football team. Now, buddy, I've had a few beverage drinks tonight.
Imagine that.
I'm shocked.
Imagine that.
Hey,
Imagine that.
he drives people to drink because they want to have a little entertainment on Saturday night.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Scoot. I would have never thought that.
Buddy, we got a long road to hoe, my friend.
Yeah, man, I know.
I mean, this is terrible. This is terrible what he put on the football field tonight. This team was ranked the 7th in the SEC. They were ranked 7th in the SEC. This guy can't play. You know what, buddy? I watch this guy coaching football, and I watch Nick Saban. I hate to use that word. Because I have no respect for Nick Saban because he lied to the LSU football fans. Okay? But this guy does not have a clue of what's going on the football field. And it hurts my heart because I own a motorhome spot out there. I got season tickets. But this is terrible what this guy put on the football field tonight. This is very terrible, buddy.
I feel your pain, Scoot. And look, what I was saying about Sean Payton and Les Miles, and he brought in Nick Saban, I think that's the difference right there, TK. Nick Saban has won 4 of the last 7 championships with Alabama, but he wakes up every day busting his tail to never get lax and soft and smell the bouquets and the roses and say, hey, I've got 5 championship fingers, 5 fingers with 5 rings. And unfortunately, it looks like we have not seen Lesticles. We've not seen the guy who went for it on 4th down 5 times. We see this pattern of bringing teams into a ball game where LSU's got a decided talent advantage, and the game ends up being closer than the score should be. And it's a hard-headed mentality and philosophy.
You had some mistakes, Fournette fumble, some injuries on the offensive line that contributed to things. A couple of passes that Etland didn't throw well. The defense, cornerbacks couldn't cover anybody. I mean, there's some things that need to be worked on, no question about that. And, I mean, I think that clearly they were 14-point favorites by the Wise guys. They should have been way above that after I now saw Mississippi State up close and, in person. I didn't go to the game, but watching every play on TV, that's not a good football team.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
They struggled to beat South Carolina, who struggled to beat East Carolina today, and barely beat Vanderbilt, who can't beat Georgia Tech today.
And got beat on the last play of the game against South Alabama,
bad.
a team that comes in late. Yeah, Scoot, there's no doubt. After 3 weeks, you would hope to see some improvement. Here's the improvement that I've seen. I've seen Danny Etland make some plays that Brandon Harris couldn't play. We saw Fournette turn it over inexplicably. That's something that he normally doesn't do. Still having problems with special teams, with kicks. And Scoot, I still don't think they're good enough at the line of scrimmage. I think at the line of scrimmage, those teams that you mentioned, TK, they're going to give LSU a lot of problems.
Right.
Oh, I agree with you. Every word you're saying, buddy. And you were probably at the ball game tonight, But, I mean, we just a bad football team.
Thank you, Scoot.
Thank you, Scooter.
We got them running in here, buddy.
I love you, man.
All right, buddy.
We
Take care.
appreciate it. Thank you so much for that. 23-20. And again, they play at Auburn next week, buddy. We got a text message. What do we think the line will be for the game at Auburn? I mean, you want to take an early stab at that, or reserve the right to change your mind on that?
After we come back from break, I'll give you my pick.
Well, no, I got it. Well, I'll go with it first, then while you're thinking. Wow.
Auburn was the 3.5-point favorite today over A&M, which was a crazy line. You and I talked about.
Man, I mean, I think LSU's a 3-point favorite at Auburn.
That's
would that kind of in the ballpark, you think?
We agree. I think LSU would be 3.5-point favorites.
Yeah, and I mean, but by the way, before we go to this caller, who won your contest this week?
Well, actually, I had a local talk show host who ended up hitting the score right on the nose.
23-20, bud, man. That's a pretty good deal there, right? All right, I'm waiting to see.
Hey, and I was glad to see you enjoy it. I gave you hell about all
this
this
stuff.
stuff.
No, it's fun. Hey,
it was
every
fun.
now and then a blind squirrel finds an acorn.
Only Les Miles could have made that game 23-20.
Let's go to Todd in Houston. Todd, you're on the post-game show.
Yes, hi. How y'all doing today?
Hey, Todd, good to talk with you.
I'm good. I just want to talk a little bit about the Auburn game and just kind of to go over some other stuff.
Go ahead.
I went and watched the Alabama game with Ole Miss game with friends, and kind of watched, Arkansas, been watching everybody in the SEC, and I've just been kind of wondering, first of all, I don't think this team can beat Ole Miss. They're really going to be very hungry. They played Alabama incredibly tough in the game, and I don't see the team beating Ole Miss. And then when you look at Alabama, that's just, oh man, that's not even what we're talking about. But as far as the Auburn game, this could really be an even game because of how fired up Auburn is going to be for the game, because they're toast if they lose. And they, what do you think about the Auburn game?
Well, look, Auburn and LSU are both very tough to predict right now. I saw a little bit of the Auburn-Texas A&M game. We saw the Bama game with Ole Miss. Ole Miss kept chunking it. Right now, Chad Kelly, are you kidding me, Todd, the way LSU's covering and the way he throws it? I don't even want to think that far down the line with Ole Miss throwing the ball against the LSU corners. They have got to fix the corners right now. They're not getting enough pressure.
There's a lot of things to fix.
There's a lot of things to fix. And, Todd, I just don't know if LSU's good enough at the line of scrimmage to withstand the heavyweights that they play. But next week, I think they got a chance to beat Auburn. I don't think Auburn's anything great. They should take care of Missouri. But really, we're going to find out what they're made of.
Missouri only trailed Georgia by 1.5.
So what about the Florida game?
Florida, right now, I'd say they'll probably lose that game.
Yeah, right now, I don't think they win that game. We'll see what happens between now and then. Thank you, Todd.
Hey, good talking to you, Todd from Houston.
All right, buddy, here's a question for you on the text message line. Is LSU still a top-tier program?
I think they're a top-tier program, but I don't think they're a top 10 team this year. And that pains me to say that, but I'm looking at the deficiencies. Once again, you see the mixing and matching in the offensive line. TK, you got to have 5 big studs in the offensive line every year. Alabama has been number 1 in recruiting every year the last 6 years. LSU has averaged number 7. But the problem is they get all those skilled people, get higher ratings, as we talked about. So I'm a little shaky with where they're at the line of scrimmage. Ogeron's doing a better job. But look, John Chavis and Brick Haley didn't do the Tiger program any favors with their recruiting the last couple of years.
No, they didn't. And I will say this, in watching tonight's game, defensively, it looks like it's starting to gel a little bit. Lewis Neal had a sack on a stunt. Coming up
Inside
the gut,
stunt, very
coming
nice.
up the gut, and I saw Godcho do some good stuff.
played very well.
Valentine, he's slanting to the wide side of the field on the snap, and
Key with a sack,
and he's recording, and 2 people are having to block Valentine, so he's eating up 2 bodies. Key with a sack, a couple other times he got very, very close. So here's a text note: they're not top tier. Have not been to a major bowl in 5 years. Had a graduating class last year who were the first class to not win any sort of win a title since the Curly Hallman years. Oh, my goodness, we're back to Curly Hallman.
Well, look, whether it's top 10 or top 15, I think you still look at the resources and where they recruit and how well they do in recruiting. You look at the fan base. You look at the history. I think all-time LSU something like 11. But there's no doubt about it. Hey, wasn't it last year we kept talking about 8-6? 5-4. We kept talking about the number of conference wins, and it was going down, and then they went back up to 5.
Well,
I think this could be a 4-4 year in the conference, TK.
Well, here's another one. Enjoy this SEC win, Tiger fans. It may be your only one of the season. I think they could beat Missouri. Well,
I think they beat Auburn next week. If they don't beat Auburn next week, then guess what? The fans will officially start the new coach talk.
I think it's already been started. I had people texting me today saying, get Bobby Petrino when he was up like 58-6 on
Bobby Petrino, and then everybody washed their hands and did a Pontius Pilate on Jimbo because of that butt kicking. But it's just frustrating, and this is something you and I have talked about, and I think the fans, all you have to do is see the stadium in the fourth quarter. Now, that was a close game. If you are from parts unknown and you're watching LSU, you've got to be asking, why aren't there fans still in the stadium when this game is that close? And it's because
they don't like Les Miles.
And they're tired of the product.
Well, buddy, as you know, I've told other people, a good friend of mine bartends at one of these private parties out on the campus for tailgating near the Indian Mounds. She's been doing this for years and years. Every Saturday I text her, hey, what's the crowd look like? For Jacksonville State, she said it was very bad. Of course, the weather was threat. Today, she said much less than usual when she was out there, and she's in one of these private spots, sees all the people, and it just wasn't there. Now, it was a late arriving crowd, as you told me in a text message you thought it would be, because everybody was waiting to see what the weather was going to do.
And watching
And the weather was a little bit shaky, and then you could tell it was going to be not going to hit LSU. And I mean, the sun was out an hour before kickoff, so everybody's kind of flocked to the stadium then, or they went from the parking lot into the stadium, because I thought at kickoff there was a pretty good number of people in there. But then in the fourth quarter, and then Mississippi State chipped back in the thing, I mean, there was less than 50,000 people in there for that.
Well, you go to see LSU win, but you also go to be entertained. And I think that, let's be honest, they have sucked the life out of the fun of going out there, whether it be tailgating or staying late. And this is an uphill battle, TK, to restore a good relationship with the fans. And, he's going to get hammered on his radio show next Wednesday. And obviously...
Here we go, and then we got to go to break. What's going on with the band? They rarely play during the game anymore. We have to listen to awful piped-in music. I wasn't at the stadium, but is the band playing? We'll have to check on that, but we got to go to break, because when we come back, we're going to connect with Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. He's been at the stadium. He'll tell you what Coach Miles had to say, if he was able to grab some players. Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com will join us right after this pause. LSU wins 23-20, 1-0 in league play. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Krysan, Pelican Sports Postgame Show. Stay with us.
Don't let bugs bug you anymore. Call the bug man today.
And for termite protection, go green with Centricot. If it's good enough for Lady Liberty in the White House, then it's good enough for you. Eliminate the colony and eliminate termites for good.
Call 923-BUGS today.
Here at Rejuva-Me Medical, we strive to accomplish a more youthful you. We specialize in the most advanced techniques of testosterone replacement therapy in men, bioidentical hormone replacement in women, IV therapy, and nutritional support, along with the state-of-the-art cosmetics procedures. Experience a network of trainers and health coaches offering diet and nutritional plans tailored to you. Call us today to schedule your free consultation to discuss your individual needs and goals. Look like you live younger.
Desire in your eyes, but you can't keep it in your heart. 'Cause misery loves company. 'Cause misery loves company. Cold and hungry like a dog in the street. I get a raw deal every.
Continue with the Pelican Sports Post-Game Show. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Krysan. We get our first report from Tiger Stadium. Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. Good evening, Brian. How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
What did Coach Miles have to say after the game, Brian?
Well, a lot of coach speak. Opened up the SEC with a win, got off to a quick start. Obviously didn't finish the game like he wanted, and he pinpointed a couple things. He said 2 fumbles by Fournette, and then the onside kick, which State recovered. He said that was the reason why this game ended up close. And he says, you can't have mistakes like that. And he really didn't harp a lot. In fact, really didn't say a whole lot about the offensive struggles in the second half. And Danny Etling was really the same way. He talked mostly about how good things went in the first half and didn't talk a whole lot about the second half. So, Les, I think he looked at it this way. He got out of here with a victory. And as I've said all along this year, it's not the process, it's the results. And, if LSU would have been 1-2 after this game, this season, I'm ready to say would have been over.
Yeah. Brian, talk a little bit about the cover corners. Once again, it was Dante Jackson last week. This week it was Tolliver. What's the deal going on, and are they going to have to look at another player or two? I mean, Eric Parrish came in and got beat on a play deep down the sidelines, but what's going on with their cornerbacks this year?
Well, I mean, they're sophomores. They're still underclassmen. It's that simple. Dwayne Thomas was at the nickel and gave up one of those pass that Ross caught to set up the first touchdown that put the ball on the 3-yard line. Thomas was the defender on that play.
Everybody knows he can't cover.
So there were a few times tonight where they, put Tre'Davious White back outside and played Dwayne Thomas at the corner. I know there was a couple series. One series that White took over for Tolliver. One series he took over for Jackson. Like you said, Ed Parrish was in there. You're dealing with Jackson and Tolliver, two guys that are sophomores. I'm a little disappointed in Tolliver because I think he's got jumped around a couple times.
Brian.
And, you're just going to have to, those guys just have to play better.
Brian, Wisconsin, Jacksonville State, and Mississippi State all went right after Tolliver. I mean, obviously they've identified him as being a weak link, perhaps, that they want to try to exploit and attack. They've all went right after him, and they're testing him. And then, when they don't test him, they have success somewhere else. But I feel all three teams have went after Tolliver.
Yeah, I agree with you. There's no doubt that they have gone. Well, you're going to. It's really a little bit surprising me that these teams have gone after him more than Dante Jackson, but he does play a little bit soft, and I don't think he breaks on the ball as much as quickly as Jackson.
Well, he's not as quick as Jackson, we know that, but breaking on the ball is different.
And that's why, and like I said, you saw tonight for at least two series and maybe three where they went and moved Tre'Davious White back outside, got him out of the inside coverage, and put Dwayne Thomas in there. And look, we know Dwayne Thomas is, he had problems at that position last year. And like I just said, Ross caught a ball over him late in the game tonight. But look, the guys you have, that's who you got to play with, and they just have to get better.
Second question, Brian, the offensive line, a variety of injuries. If you could update us on the severity of that. And we did see Ethan Posick at left tackle for the first time this year. Andy Dodd got a few snaps at center. Both tackles were hurt for a while. Guards were hurt. I mean, it was a mix and match of the offensive line. And then did Butte get hurt? What happened to him at the end?
Did who get hurt at the end?
Who got hurt at the end? I thought Butte was out. I saw Brunfield playing. Just a bunch of injuries on there.
No, I think Butte was a little slow to the end, and they put Brumfield in. Les said after the game that he didn't think any of the injuries were serious.
Okay.
He didn't think anybody was going to miss an extended period of time. So he did say that he thought Weathersby, he didn't say was had the most serious injury, but he hinted that Weathersby is the one that he has some questions about, and Weathersby is the one that never came back in. Ethan Posick played a couple series at left tackle, but on that last series, KJ Malone went back in the game at left tackle, and Posick went back to center. So,
Brian, I got to go ahead.
Just about everybody was banged up at some point tonight on the offensive line, except for Posick. Clapp went out, Malone went out. I guess Tehuma never went out. Now he didn't start. Notice Butte started at right guard.
Right.
And then I guess Weathersby was the first one to go out. When they did that, Tehuma went to tackle, Booty was out early also. So, look, the offensive line isn't – they played 8 tonight, but besides the 5 starters, Tehuma, Brumfield, and Dodd played, and I think that's the extent. And, it seems like Weathersby is the one guy who may have the most serious injury, but, Les wasn't ready to say that it was something that's like he's going to miss a significant amount of time.
Brian, I got a question on the text message line that when we were talking about the defensive backs. It says, why not give Savion Smith a chance? Any word or thought on that?
I have, look, Savion Smith, nobody has said a word about him. So I haven't heard anything. Remember he was suspended for the first game of the year, so obviously there's some off-the-field issues. And I have, he's been third unit from day one of practice in August, and obviously, he's behind Ed Paris. I mean, you're talking about who are their best cornerbacks. Well, it's Tre'Davious White, it's Dante Jackson, it's Kevin Tolliver, and it's Ed Paris. So, I know people fall in love with highly touted prospects, but, obviously Smith hasn't done enough right now to show the coaches. So I think he did make a nice play last week late in the game, breaking up a ball.
Well, if you got Dwayne Thomas covering in space, you're going to have a long night. No disrespect to 13, but DBU
and that's why Dante Jackson and Kevin Tolliver just have to get better.
Right.
It's that simple. Look. I have Corey Raymond. I think everybody knows he's a good recruiter, but as a defensive backs coach, if you look at some of the issues LSU's had the last few years, I just don't think the secondary, has played as well as the people are expecting.
Final question, Brian. We got a lot of interaction with fans wanting to know about the play calling in the first quarter and second quarter versus the second half. What kind of patterns have you seen, and is this something that we're going to see the whole year? It does seem like once they have some success, they get ultra-conservative. Last week they didn't complete a pass in the second half. This week, of course, sat on it a little bit. Is that going to catch up to this football team?
Well, I think one thing, the different things they did in the first half, which you have an end around by Chark, you have Malachi Dupree on a reverse throwback pass, you have a halfback pass from Fournette. Look, the one thing about that is Kevin Steele next week, and as you go further on, Missouri and Florida, all these defensive coordinators, they get to spend time in practice working against all these gadget plays, and that's one reason why teams do this, is it makes the other teams have to spend time preparing for all this, so you may not see it again. I don't think you'll see a reverse throwback by Malachi Dupree again this year.
No.
I don't think it will. But guess what? Auburn next week, they're going to spend time practicing against it. So the second half, look, the score is 23-3. LSU didn't have real good field position a lot of times in the second half. The offensive line is a little beat up. The defense is playing pretty well, so I can understand them being a little bit more conservative, and it's working. I mean, it's a 23-6 game, midway through the fourth quarter. So I think circumstances led to them being a little bit more conservative tonight in the second half, just like it was last week. And I think last week they were conservative in the second half because they wanted to work on their running game. Let's see if we can get the running game going. I think tonight it was like our defense is playing well. We don't think State can score a lot of points. Let's, try to eat up some clock.
Brian, tell us what's happening at TigerBait.com.
www.tigerbait.com. All the post-game coverage is already up there in a few minutes. The quick video analysis from Alex Liggett and myself. And I'll have analysis up before the end of the night and the grades tomorrow. And then let's get ready for Auburn next week.
Hey, real quick, Brian, when did the fans start to leave? We saw a shot in the fourth quarter. When did the majority of them start to leave?
I looked up. It caught me by surprise. I looked up early in the fourth quarter, and I said, "Ain't nobody in the stadium." So it had to be after halftime. I think there was people gradually left after halftime, and like I said, LSU's in front 23-6 midway through the fourth quarter. So I think people said, okay, this game's over. And it's just like 2 years ago. Remember when LSU made the comeback 2 years ago?
Sure.
There was nobody in the stands then.
Yeah.
When LSU was in Mississippi State spot.
Fournette's going to have to carry around a football to class this week.
Yeah, Fournette doesn't really fumble the ball very much, and got tripped once and got knocked out a second time. And look, those two fumbles. Look, the second fumble that was big because he's going to make the first down, and then because of the way the rule is on a fourth down play, if the offensive team fumbles, the only one that can recover it is the fumbler, and if the fumbler doesn't recover for the offense, the ball goes back to where he fumbled the ball, and the officials on the field gave him a first down.
Mm-hmm.
But then when they went to replay, they said, no, he fumbled it right before the spot to make. So that was a big play. If he gets the first down there, LSU probably runs out the clock, and game never gets close probably.
Brian, we appreciate it very much. We'll visit again soon.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, talk to you guys later.
All right, LSU wins 23-20. They're on the road. 5 o'clock kickoff next week at Jordan-Hare Stadium against the Auburn Tigers. We'll be on the air about 8:15, 8:30. We'll take a break, come back. We'll get another report from Tiger Stadium for you. We'll connect with Ronnie Rance of Sports Shorts Radio, Sports Shorts TV. With Buddy Sanji, I'm Tommy Chrysan. Pelican Sports Postgame Show on Pelican Sports TV and WUBR CBS Sports Radio, Baton Rouge. Stay with us.
Accord Eye Clinic Vision Source is located on Perkins Road in Baton Rouge, offering full-service optical and lab work. Dr. Shonda Accord and the professionally trained staff pride themselves on service, complete eye exams, help with contact lenses, and selection of frames featuring Silhouette, Gucci, Jimmy Choo, and all the top lines. State-of-the-art equipment including OptiMap, which digitally photographs your retina. Call Accord Eye Clinic for an appointment, 225-767-3937. That's 225-767-3937. Visit the website, visionsource-br.com. All patients of all ages are welcome. Accord Eye Clinic, Vision Source.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a Formal Affair.
I work at Debbie's Bridal, and she makes your dreams come true.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 800-383-8177. 800-383-8177.
Hi, I'm Bobby Yarborough with Manda Fine Meats. Here at Manda, we know what the folks of South Louisiana love. They love great flavored smoked sausage, delicious deli meats, and specialty items like boudin and andouille sausage. Manda Fine Meats has been providing these products since 1947. We produce them right here in Baton Rouge, so you know you're always getting the freshest product at your local grocery store. Manda Fine Meats. Taste the fresh local flavor in everything we make. Make it Manda every time.
No one can stop me when I taste the feeling. Nothing could ever bring me down. Nothing could ever bring me down. taste the feeling.
We continue with the Pelican Sports post-game show. Once again, LSU wins 23-20. We go back out to Tiger Stadium. Ronnie Ransel, Sports Shorts Radio, Sports Shorts TV. Ronnie, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good, fellas. Doing great.
All right, Ronnie, you got to talk to some players, starting with Ethan Posick. What did the players have to say after the game?
Well, with Ethan Posick, he talked about in the first half how they really executed the game plan, had a good game plan, had good tempo. He felt like he said, had nice things to say about Etling as far as, his command in the huddle, his poise, and the fact that he doesn't, he's willing to take a 3 or 4 yard play as opposed to just always going, taking big shots and coming up empty and forcing balls. And that's what kind of as a team they all said about him. But again, to a man, everybody I talked to said, in the second half they just lacked some, made mistakes, had some focus, obviously uncharacteristic with the 2 fumbles and all inside kick.
All right, you also spoke with Arden Key. He had a big night.
Yeah, Arden Key, just said, hey, his goal going into the season was to get 20 sacks, and he got 2 tonight. He said he tries to get 2+ every game, and obviously loved the situation there at the end where he's able to just kind of put his hand down in the sand and go get it, knowing they're going to throw the football, but. At the same time, they should have been in that situation up 23-6 with a few minutes to go. They had some mistakes, had some mental lapses, and but Arden was there to do what he does best. He considered himself, and he told me, the other team knows I'm one of the best pass rushers in the country.
Ronnie, what did Danny Etling have to say after the game?
Danny Etling just, he's a guy who doesn't really give you a whole lot. He pretty much toes the company line, and he just. He said there was obviously a little bit more electricity, a little bit more energy in the stadium this week. He felt more comfortable himself having a whole week of preparation, knowing he was going to start. He said for him, he felt more poised and he felt, ready to go. He said, I don't know what it is about the second half, though, 2 weeks in a row where they don't really do much offensively. And he said, he says, I don't know if it's hot and you get fatigued and you just got to double and triple your concentration. He said they just mentally had some lapses there.
What did Jamal Adams say, the last player you were able to visit with?
Well, Jamal was probably the most, vocal of all of them relative to the collapse there in the fourth quarter where they gave up 2 scores late and made it interesting. He was like, you come out of this win feeling frustrated. They definitely not the way they wanted to win the ball game, and kind of shook his head about that. But at the same time, they did a lot of good things defensively, and he feels like they're getting better from week 1. He feels confident going into Auburn, but he's like, I don't know what it is, but that what happened there tonight, he said we just had some busts, had some mental mistakes, and they took advantage of it.
Ronnie, what did Coach Miles have to say after the game?
Miles was asked, I thought it was interesting, he was asked, at the end of the game, a lot of the stadium was empty because people with 23-6 with a few minutes to go started to leave the stadium, and he said, and he said, no, I understand. People were trying to go get something to eat. I thought we had it wrapped up. And he said, there's no doubt those fans will be there when we need them. But at the same time, he said, look, 2 fumbles and an onside recovery in the second half gave them extra possessions, gave them, that's a quality. That's an SEC team that they took advantage of field position. And he said those are uncharacteristic mistakes. Leonard Fournette will probably never fumble twice again in a game ever. It's just one of those things.
Jumbo, we called Dr. Phil, and he was tied up, so you got to help some people out. You ready?
All right.
Preseason 5 and 6 in the respective polls. You go and you lose a game at Lambeau to Wisconsin. Had a different quarterback. You play a good first day against an FCS team in Jacksonville State. You sit on it. You win ugly. And then you obviously are in control, and then once again, you make another game in the SEC very close at the end. People want to know if this is coaching, if the players aren't as good as we thought, or if it's just the inexact science called predicting college football.
I talked to Jacob Hester. We talk every week, do a little segment on CST tonight after the game, and I asked Jacob, I said, you you know Cam Cameron, you ran the system in San Diego. What is it Cam? Is it Les? Is it whatever? And he didn't really necessarily have the answer. He felt like, that he knows that Cam has more plays in the playbook. But after talking to Cam and Les over the years, I think it's just as simple as this. They are ultra conservative when it comes to, if they don't have the ultimate faith in the quarterback, then they're going to shut it down, and they're not going to take chances. They would rather, in their mind, be 9-3, 8-4 than roll the dice, turn it loose, fling it all over the field, and have them possibly go 5-7, 6-6. And those kinds of comments have come out of their mouth to me at different points off season and other times over the years. And so I just think when they don't have the confidence in the quarterback to make the plays, then they just get ultra conservative, and they don't care if they win by 1 or 51. It's just trying to get out of there with a W. And that's not going to change this year. It's not going to probably change ever. And I don't think the rest of the season, guys, that we can judge LSU on beauty points. It's just simply, did they get a W or not? And that's how it's going to be.
Ronnie, before you get out of here, tell us about Sports Shorts Radio and Sports Shorts TV.
Well, Sports Shorts Radio every Monday night, 6 to 8. Myself, Buzzy Hybel, national champion, LSU baseball, and Joel Davis on ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge. Check us out. And then Sports Shorts TV right here in Pelican, Mondays at 9, Tuesdays at 8. We'll have a lot of Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame guests over the next few years. And
congratulations, Jumbo.
Thank you, Ronnie. Appreciate it.
Thanks, fellas.
All right, that's Ronnie Ranch from out at Tiger Stadium, following a report from Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com.
But it's the question, TK. I mean, as people are in their cars right now, driving home, you and I watch a lot of football. And I've said this the last 3 or 4 years. Nobody tries to win games like LSU. But this has got to be a little bit alarming to you and everybody, I'm talking about the fans, that in year 12, you continue to make some of these same mistakes. Special teams hurt them this particular night. Turnovers hurt them. And I just don't see the passion, the sense of urgency, and this staff is getting paid more than anybody in the country.
That's true.
And I don't see them getting coached up, TK.
You're right. We're going to take a break, come back, squeeze in a couple of more calls and text messages, maybe take a look at the stats. We got one more segment of the Pelican Sports Post-Game Show. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Kreis saying your calls and text messages are next, right after this pause. Stay with us.
Cypress Lake Apartments are conveniently located off Segan Lane in Baton Rouge. Come see this community, which has many amenities including swimming pools, fitness room, playground, and much more. Beautiful views of Cypress Lake. 1, 2, 3-bedroom apartments are available. Stop by and see Cypress Lake Apartments. Give them a call at 225-293-6789 or visit online, cypresslake-apartments.net.
Don't let bugs bug you anymore. Call the bug man today.
And for termite protection, go green with Centricot. If it's good enough for Lady Liberty and the White House, then it's good enough for you. Eliminate the colony and eliminate termites for good.
Call 923-BUGS today.
Creel Tree Service is a licensed and insured tree service providing tree and stump removal, topping, trimming, cabling, pruning, and fertilizing. We have free stump removal with takedowns, free estimates, affordable rates, and senior citizens discounts. Call 774-TREE. That's 774-8733. Get your yard ready for the warmer weather. If it deals with a tree, call me, Creel Tree Service, 774-8733. That's 774-TREE.
Friends, family, and community in surrounding parishes who have lost vehicles due to the flood. North American Auto Group is here to help. We have discounted over 400 pre-owned vehicles with no water damage. In addition, we have lenders offering disaster relief financing programs. We will also help you with your insurance and GAP claims. Shop online at NorthAmericanAutoGroup.com or visit us at one of our 4 locations in Baton Rouge and Gonzales. North American Auto Group. We make it easy.
Since 1986, the family dental practice of Dr. Farrell Frugier, with state-of-the-art building and technology, and our highly trained staff have been dedicated to providing care and treatment to our patients of all ages. The experience and advanced training in cosmetic and restorative dentistry, TMJ, and treatment of snoring and sleep apnea allows Dr. Frugier to assist you in achieving the best in dental health. Call us today at 225-292-9700 to schedule your initial evaluation because we know how to make you smile.
Pelican Sports Post-Game Show 23-20. Next week, LSU plays Auburn, 5 p.m. kickoff on ESPN. We'll be on about 8:15, 8:30. Let's go to Ken in Baton Rouge. Ken, you're on the post-game show.
Hey, Tommy, buddy. How y'all doing this evening?
Long-time listener of you, Kenny P.
Yeah, love listening to you guys after the game. Look, I got a question for you. What was the time of possession in the second half?
In the second half?
Yeah.
I can tell you the game was 32-44 for Mississippi State and 27-56 for correction. LSU 32-44, Mississippi State 27-16. So that tells me LSU had a huge advantage in time of possession in the second half.
No, in the first half.
First half. Here's my deal with that. This guy is like the Aerosmith song, "Living on the Edge," because he can't win a ball game by blowing people out. He got the foot on the throat in the first half. In the second half, he just feels sorry for him and just lets off and got to play that conservative junk that he played the last few years instead of doing what's been successful in the first half. I got a problem with that. Why not blow these people out, put the game away, and not worry about it instead of let them creep back into it? That's the issue I have with this team.
These comments were made when Nick Saban was at LSU. If you remember, Nick used to start to lay on Jimbo on the headset and say, shut it down, and he'd play not to lose, and the guy learned from his mistakes. Unfortunately, Ken, Les continues to go with this mindset, and obviously we all know that there's been a lot of success, but it's incredibly frustrating, and you let a team back into the game. Even the commentators on TV said, you got to put these guys away. They're going to start to believe that they can play, and we're sitting here watching it, Ken, and Mississippi State actually had a chance at the end. Now, same thing happened 2 years ago with Brandon Harris and Malachi when they got hot, but unfortunately the tendency, it's not, it's too predictable, Ken. It's happened far too often for it to be a coincidence at this point.
Yeah, my thing with the time of possession for you guys was that I bet the time of possession was in favor of Mississippi State in the second half. And
it was. And
my point on that was the defense, I believe, was getting very tired.
Sure.
They did a good job in being able to rally to keep them from being able to score at the very, very end to either tie or go ahead. But you can't keep those guys on the field like that. They did a great job in the first half. I think the offense did a fantastic job in the first half. It's awesome to see that we got a quarterback who's composed and has the confidence and has the confidence of his teammates. And good to see Malachi Dupree do better this week. I just think that when you got all these tools and you can open the offense up and they're not stacking the box anymore, it opens up the whole offense. But when you go back into that conservative mode like you did in the second half, you can have the same results.
Ken, where is your frustration level? We had a caller earlier, and I think it's a shame when people get to this point and they say, well, I want them to lose so Les will get fired at the end of the year, and I think that's a disservice to the program and the coaches and the player. I don't think you should do that, but the fans are so frustrated right now. Ken, where's your breaking point?
I'm just so frustrated right now that I know that last week his best friend came in from out of town to go to the game, and at the end of the first quarter they put in Etling, and I looked at him and I said, you know what? If Les Miles' job wasn't on the line, I'd promise you Brandon Harris would still be quarterback in the whole game. He'd be trying to find a way. Les Miles would be trying to find a way to win the ball game, but he knew his job was on the line. It's just like it seems as though he's got to hold on to something and say, see, I do it my way. I got to do it my way.
Yeah.
Instead of coming into the new age where this is the way offenses are run, spread offense, and stop running this old stuff from the 60s and 70s, and play ball like we do in the SEC. It's irritating. The first half, you come out there and you got Etling that's got 172 yards passing, you got 100 yards rushing, and you feel, man, this is great, and we're going to do well in the second half. The second half, he he goes back in that conservative mode. It's frustrating. I'm in the stadium, and we're all looking at each other going, what the heck is he doing?
Right.
Frank Sinatra will be upset with the second half.
Yes, sir.
Ken, thank you so much.
Have a good one. Thanks.
All right, buddy, Texas A&M beat Auburn 29-16. Of course, the Tigers travel to Auburn next week. A&M a little bit later in the season. Arkansas rolls. Florida rolls. Michigan State beats Notre Dame 36-28. How about this one, Bud, man? Georgia 28, Missouri 27. That is a final.
Wow.
Ohio State up big over Oklahoma, but about 10 minutes to go in the game, they're up by like 18 points. So Louisville annihilates Florida State earlier today. Bama has to pull something out of the hat to beat Ole Miss in Oxford.
Well, no, they were up 17, and Ole Miss did come back. But,
but Ole Miss was up big, and then Bama came back, and then they got an onside. So
that's a perfect game, though, to illustrate what we
took over 4 hours to play that game.
Well, look, you know, I always talk about the window. It's never fitting in the window.
4+ hours.
But that particular game is why you always have to have the pedal to the metal. Ole Miss was up 24-3, and they were up 28-6 on Florida State. Florida State came back, scored the last touchdown in the first half, and then came back to run them in the ground in the second half. But you've got to continue to put the pedal to the metal, and it's quite frustrating. Anybody who bet on LSU tonight is just going crazy. That's irrelevant, TK. It was another W for Les Miles. It will go on his resume. But there are a lot of unhappy fans, and it's very hard to ascertain at this point what this team is going to do. We played 25% of the regular season, 3 games. And right now, I think
people don't feel real optimistic.
And they're not excited, they're not fired up, but every week you have hope that some things are going to change, and then you see the same thing every other week.
So that's what you got. Again, 5 o'clock next Saturday on the road against the Auburn Tigers or War Eagles or Plainsmen, whatever they're going to be called next week. And they lost to A&M, as we mentioned. So LSU's got to study some tape, get better. We got to check on the injuries on the offensive line, as Brian Lazar reported. Doesn't appear to be anything serious, but sometimes that changes when you get to Monday. So we'll see what Coach Miles has to say on Monday. Buddy, let everybody know you're on the radio. Tell them when they can listen to you.
1 to 3 on, of course, CBS Sports Radio, WUBR. I'm sure we'll have a lot of calls. We're going to have a lot of calls and interaction. Hey, the positives I got real quick. Danny Etlin did make some progress, looked really good in the first half. Obviously, you had a couple of other things that you liked in the first half. But, TK, I think the Tiger faith will want to see LSU play a full 60 minutes. Probably not going to need to play that well to beat Auburn.
I don't know. You might have to play 60 minutes
on the road
Auburn.
in the SEC.
On the road, that's what I'm saying.
You better keep the pedal to the metal.
It'll be Etlin's first start on the road. Absolutely. He had his first start today. I think they're going to have to play 60 minutes to beat Auburn. To answer our question that came in earlier, I think LSU's a 3-point favorite. We'll wait and see. Sunday evening, that line will come out and we'll know for sure. But
and congratulations
I think they're going to have to play.
You.
Hey, even a blind squirrel finds an acorn some days. 2 weeks in a row, I win the Budman's competition. Am I banned next week, or can I enter?
I think we'll still. I think the luck will run out.
Hey, look, I may not come close the rest of the year. You know how it goes.
Hey, look, when you hit it on the
when you hit it on the nose, that's pretty good.
You feel pretty good, and Tiger fans, hang in there. We'll talk about it all week on the radio shows. And as always, we appreciate you tuning in tonight.
And don't forget the television program repeats Sunday mornings at 9, some Sunday mornings at 10:30, back-to-back with the 90-minute program. We'll be here next week. Tigers roar on Wednesday night. All the radio on WUBR 9, 10 a.m. Get it on the smartphones and the YouTube. On the tablets. You got the Facebook page, Pelican Broadcast, and we're kicking up the YouTube page, youtube.com/Pelican Broadcast, and we're going to start putting more stuff on there. Check it out. On behalf of everybody at the Pelican, we appreciate all the folks watching, listening, telling everybody what we got going on. Buddy Sanji, Tommy Christ saying, Tigers win 23-20. We'll talk to you again soon.